how's it going? Thanks so much for tuning in. As many of you all know, the other week Land Rover gave us the opportunity to experience the all-new Range Rover Sport Supercharged, which was an awesome opportunity in its own respect, but this week they've turned the dial a little past 11 by dropping a Range Rover Sport SVR in my driveway for an entire week to experience. This is insane. I mean, as you'll see in this video, this vehicle has 550 horsepower. 550 in an SUV. I mean, like the BMW X6M that I uploaded the other week, this is the highest performing Range Rover you can buy. Imagine if you took a Jaguar XK-RS engine and just dropped it in the Range Rover. That's it. As always, guys, this is going to be a detailed, in-depth review of the Range Rover Sport SVR. We'll start it up, show the engine, get an exhaust clip, go over the performance data, take a thorough road test, and show you many of the unique aspects of both the interior as well as exterior. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and hop on in, start it up, let it run. Our well-equipped tester has finished an Estoril Blue, a premium metallic color option with a contrasting Santorini black roof. Inside, you'll find a combination of ebony and Cirrus Oxford leather with unique SVR performance seating front and rear. The seats feature perforated leather and distinct silver piping. The ebony Morzine headliner is an option, as is the carbon fiber trim package across the doors, dash, and console. In order to start, just make sure you have the key fob within the interior, put your foot on the brake, and hit the dash mounted button to go. All Range Rover Sports now feature electrically assisted, speed-sensitive, variable ratio rack and pinion steering in place of the previous hydraulic system. Overall, the new setup is lighter and more direct, leading to greater agility and improved composure. As we experienced with the Supercharged, is partially due to a faster steering ratio and a 39% drop in vehicle weight compared to its predecessor. The SVR steering benefits from added weight to increase the feeling of stability at higher speeds. For a vehicle of this size and weight to drive the way it does, engineers pulled out all the stops, revising numerous chassis and suspension components to counteract body roll for flatter and more entertaining cornering. I thought the Supercharged was fun, but the SVR is an unforgettable experience. It feels so linear and communicative for what it is. Having all of this with the practicality of an SUV seems too good to be true. The electric steering also contributes to improved fuel economy and reduced CO2 emissions by reducing the load on the engine. Gradual increases in steering effort with higher speeds increases precision. The Sport features a unique 4-spoke leather-wrapped steering wheel that's smaller in diameter, not to mention thicker than the one found in the full-size Range Rover. It carries the same multifunction controls but looks far more dynamic and luxurious with its polished aluminum trim, perforated leather portions, and the SVR stitched leather airbag cover with optional carbon fiber trim. The SVR also uses ZF's excellent 8HP70 8-speed automatic transmission. Compared to the Supercharged we recently tested, shift times have been reduced by up to 50% thanks to extremely rapid and precise fuel cutoffs during upshifts. It's all routed through a vertical, leather-wrapped electronic shifter similar to what you would find in the new Jaguar F-Type. Power is sent to all four wheels through a permanent four-wheel drive system that benefits from a revised locking differential out back and brake-based torque vectoring system. If desired, you're able to manually select gears via the selector or by a set of aluminum steering wheel paddles for easy access and spirited driving. Compared to the Supercharged, the SVR's shifts are notably quicker, crisper, and more visceral. They're just as smooth too, so aside from audible feedback, you'll barely notice them. It even uses the engine's natural inertia to maintain a sense of acceleration through upshifts, accompanied by brutal grunts from the exhaust. It just goes to show you how flexible the ZF gearbox is in delivering a level of performance comparable to a dual-clutch setup. The torque converter maintains initial smoothness in first gear before being bypassed by a locking clutch from second gear onward to create a direct link between the transmission and the driven wheels for a more engaged feeling. Throttle blips on downshifts smooth out transitions and keep the SVR within its power band for quicker response. Adaptive software monitors acceleration, braking inputs, lateral cornering forces, kickdown requests, and severity of gradients to alter the transmission's behavior based on driving style and road conditions, such as holding a gear through corners or predicting the driver's intent. When selecting dynamic mode, which we'll cover later on, the transmission will not upshift at the red line and will automatically downshift only to prevent engine stalling, giving the driver more control. The 8 speeds taller overdrive gears lead greater efficiency compared to previous 6-speed automatics.
So let's go ahead and flip on the automatic LED accented bifunction HID headlamps, rear fog lamps, and the hazards. All 4 windows are fully automatic with laminated front glass for improved noise isolation. So let's go ahead and check out the exterior. Upon closing the door, the interior will start to chime to let you know it's lost detection of the proximity key fob.
The Range Rover Sport SVR is the fastest, most powerful, and most dynamically focused Land Rover ever produced. If that's not enough to get your blood flowing, a 4.5 second 0 to 60 time at a top speed of over 160 miles an hour will surely do the trick. I've tested out some incredible performance machines in recent time, but the SVR features such a unique combination of refinement and savagery in the best way imaginable. It continuously sparks your curiosity as to how such a vehicle even made it past conceptual stages. The probable reasons begin to seem irrelevant after just a few minutes behind the wheel. Simply put, you'll be thanking your lucky stars for its very existence. After all, this is an SUV that was developed in the Nürburgring, where it set an impressive lap time of just 8 minutes 14 seconds, all without sacrificing any of its off-road abilities. Designed, engineered, and built in Britain by Jaguar Land Rover's Special Vehicle Operations team, the SVR is something different. Its visceral nature is unlike anything else I've experienced in this class. Originally introduced back in 2006, the Range Rover Sport was the brand's first performance SUV. Over the years, it's become one of Land Rover's volume leaders. The Range Rover Sport was redesigned in 2014 and features all-new styling, greater off-road capability, and even more impressive driving dynamics. In general, the edges are softer, more refined, and more aerodynamic, combined with shorter front and rear overhangs and unique horizontal features. The SVR, initially launched as a 2015 model, takes things up a notch by throwing in an extra dose of aggression and plenty of gloss black and body-colored elements with zero bright work. Estoril Blue is a unique color to the SVR and looks stunning with the optional Santorini black roofline. The styling not only conveys a sense of performance, but much of what you see is functional benefits with cooling and/or aerodynamics. Beginning at the front, the SVR's new bumper eliminates the LED fog lamps for larger trapezoidal air intakes, creating an additional airflow to the twin intercoolers. Wider gloss black lower grille sets sport additional ducting and new mesh patterns, highlighted by SVR badging. The bumper's underside is designed to smooth the air as it passes under the body while working to reduce front-end lift, making sure the tires stay planted at higher speeds. Additional cooling is provided for the Brembo front brakes to reduce fade under harder track use. If you ever had concerns about bumper clearance in the event you decide to do a bit of extreme off-roading, the more aggressive lower section can be removed. The Range Rover script on the clamshell bonnet is finished in black lettering to complement a set of black bonnet vents and a black grille, both of which were redesigned for the SVR. The slim, wraparound bifunction HID headlamps feature black casings with the LED DRLs and turn signals. As you begin to move down the sides of the body, new aluminum fenders incorporate modified side vents, while unique rocker moldings and wheel arch extensions add to its wide stance and overall muscularity. The fender vents are no longer functional, as we talked about in my previous video, but a continued styling trait of previous Range Rovers, as Land Rover relocated the breather ports to the hood, increasing the vehicle's fording depth. At the rear, the SVR features more unique lettering, badging, black trim pieces, wraparound LED tail lamps, and a bespoke high-level spoiler that houses a centrally mounted brake light. The spoiler was designed to reduce lift and balance the aerodynamic properties of the front bumper. Like the front, the aggressive lower rear fascia is also new, featuring a gloss black diffuser which houses the signature quad exhaust pipes that finish off the SVR's menacing demeanor. Near flush glazing of the A-pillars and side glass create a streamlined look, while subtle separation edges incorporated into the rear lamps and D-pillars further improve aerodynamics. The newest Range Rover Sport also borrows many of the same advanced design techniques found in the Range Rover flagship, which was redesigned for 2013. It's the second Land Rover model and the first in its segment to benefit with an all-new aluminum chassis and body structure for a dramatic decrease in curb weight. Combined with further enhancements of its permanent four-wheel drive system, and the latest Range Rover Sport is a far superior offering compared to its predecessor, not only in off-road capability but efficiency, economy, quality, and especially performance. In fact, 75% of the components used in construction are unique to the Sport, further distinguishing itself from the flagship. The one-piece aluminum body shell rides on an aluminum unibody that's 39% lighter and 25% stiffer than the previous steel semi-monocoque chassis. The body is joined to aluminum front and rear subframes. Most of the body panels, including the doors, are pressed as single units for reduced joints, improved integrity, and simplified assembly. The side intrusion beams within the doors are the first automotive application of high-strength AC300 aluminum. The goal was not only to make it lighter but stronger than before. That strength leads to improved crash safety and significantly improved noise vibrations and harshness levels. It also creates a far more dynamic and agile vehicle than before. While the new model is slightly larger, it still weighs about 800 pounds less than its predecessor, give or take some depending on the trim and equipment. Other weight-saving measures include lightweight, high-strength steel seat structures, SMC tailgate, composite reinforced B-pillars, aluminum components for the final drive, optimized suspension design, and more, not to mention lightweight magnesium castings for the instrument panel and front-end carrier. The SVR stands out from the competition because, despite the performance upgrades, it hasn't forgotten that it's first and foremost a Land Rover, featuring the same off-road DNA instilled into a Range Rover Sport Supercharged. The Terrain Response 2 permanent four-wheel drive system has 6 different modes you can select, including Dynamic, General, Grass, Gravel, Snow, Mud, Ruts, Sand, and Rock Crawl. Leaving it in automatic allows the terrain sensors to select an appropriate mode by modulating the engine, transmission, and locking center differential simultaneously. All of this happens in the background as the Range Rover monitors its movements at least 500 times per second. Placing the SVR into dynamic mode activates unique calibrations for the power steering, throttle, transmission, adaptive dampers, lean control, traction, and stability control systems. Dynamic allows you to explore the SVR's maximum performance potential. General is more for daily use, while the latter 4 modes pertain to off-roading. The transfer case offers both high and low range using a 2-speed, fully synchronized system that allows the driver to switch between them at speeds up to 37 miles an hour. Torque is split 50-50 between the front and rear wheels by default, with the center differential being able to disperse as much as 100% of available torque to the front or rear. The high range provides a direct drive ratio of 1:1, while the low range is 2.93:1, providing a low crawl ratio speed. Compared to the Supercharged we tested, the SVR's dynamic active rear locking differential has been recalibrated to optimize traction and stability relative to the application. The differential now locks earlier and for a greater extent, making sure the appropriate amount of torque is being transferred to the rear wheel with the most traction, enhancing agility around the corners. The brake-based torque vectoring system has also been recalibrated, balancing torque between all 4 wheels during cornering for reduced understeer. The SVR's cross-linked 4-corner air suspension still offers 10.2 inches of front wheel travel and 10.7 inches of travel at the rear, leading to approach, breakover, and departure angles of up to 30, 27, and 27.3 degrees respectively, with 21.5 inches of wheel articulation while in off-road height. Fording depth remains at an impressive 33.5 inches. The air suspension is fully adjustable by simply pressing a button in the center console, allowing the driver to lower it by nearly 2 inches for access height, improving entry and exit, or raising it as much as 9.3 inches from its lowest setting to reach a max off-road height of 10.9 inches. Therefore, you have about 7.3 inches of adjustable travel between the extremes. Once previously limited to 31 miles an hour, the Range Rover can now drive up to 50 miles an hour while in off-road height before it automatically lowers to its normal height of 8.4 inches. This is thanks to a new intermediate off-road setting which rides 1.4 inches above normal, suited for rutted dirt roads, allowing the new model to travel higher with added flexibility compared to the previous generation's single off-road height setting. The highest off-road setting is still restricted to 31 miles an hour. Road holding has been improved with active roll bars, variable dampers, and corner brake control. The ride is more stable with less body roll through the corners. Aerodynamic underfloor paneling and carefully placed deflectors help improve fuel economy by reducing drag to create a relatively flat profile underneath, which also works to protect vital components while off-road. The smooth underbody is also said to give an additional 2 inches of off-road height clearance compared to its predecessor. In addition to the wide variety of suspension adjustments, there's also a host of other electronic assist features that include hill descent control, gradient release control, hill start assist, dynamic stability control, electronic traction control, and roll stability control. The SVR is available with two different wheel and tire packages. The standard set like we have here consists of 21-inch diamond-turned alloys with dark gray inserts wrapped in all-season 275/45 Michelin Latitude sport tires at each corner. A wider SVR-specific 22-inch wheel option is also available. Those are wrapped in 295/40 Continental Sport Contact 5 tires, designed for greater traction, grip, and stability on dry tarmac along with improved wet weather performance. Land Rover states that the Continentals are road biased, so they likely put a priority on track performance over off-road ability. Land Rover also claims that with the SVR's tighter body control, peak cornering G-force has been increased from 1.1 G in the Supercharged to 1.3 G. Brakes consist of four-wheel internally ventilated discs measuring 15 inches in front paired with Brembo 6-piston fixed calipers and 14.4 inches in the rear with single-piston sliding calipers. The calipers are painted blue on the SVR. With this setup, average stops from 60 miles an hour are achieved in a little over 120 feet. As far as the suspension, it's constructed primarily from aluminum and doubly insulated, consisting of a fully independent and adaptive air ride setup with continuously variable magnetorological dampers. Up front, you'll find an independent double wishbone setup with a multi-link rear design. The air springs feature a modified piston profile for sportier handling and composure alongside the recalibrated adaptive dynamics system. Rear suspension subframe bushings are uprated by 20%. Ride comfort and overall refinement have been notably improved, delivering enhanced bump absorption and more supple feel despite the larger wheels. Like the Range Rover Sport Supercharged, you still feel some bumps over broken pavement, but it's subtle. I've never driven an SUV that delivered a level of excitement like this. I said that before, and it's especially true with the SVR. It really does have the heart and soul of a sports car. Handling is fantastic for what it is, minor body roll is expected, but it's so well controlled in the SVR that you'll find yourself taking corners with the utmost confidence, smiling all the way through. Overall length is 191.8 inches with a width of 81.6 inches and a height of 70.1 inches, riding on a 115-inch wheelbase. Total curb weight for the SVR is around 5,147 pounds. The SVR is powered by a higher output variant of the supercharged 5-liter all-aluminum direct-injected V8 found in the higher-spec Range Rover Sports. The Roots-type twin-vortex supercharger sits within the cylinder banks and is fed by twin intercoolers. Our tester features an optional $2,000 carbon fiber engine cover. The SVR benefits from an optimized Bosch engine management system and retuned electronic bypass valve for the supercharger to increase maximum boost pressure from 9.1 psi to 10.1 psi. The engine features double overhead cams, 4 valves per cylinder, variable intake and exhaust valve timing, a 9.5 to 1 compression ratio, and a redline fuel cutoff of 6,800 RPM. It now develops 550 horsepower at 6,500 RPM and 502 pound-feet of torque at 2,500 RPM. That's an increase of 40 horsepower and 41 pound-feet of torque over the supercharged variant, identical to the output of the Jaguar XK-RS. With the Sport's reduced weight and new 8-speed automatic transmission, the SVR is able to accelerate to 60 miles an hour in around 4.5 seconds, all the way to a top speed limited to 162 miles an hour. Along with the unique dual-mode active exhaust system, which we'll cover in just a second, an intake sound composer helps yield similar aggressive notes you'd expect to hear from an XK-RS. It should go without saying, but this thing is brutally fast. It throws you into the seat on hard launches and keeps you there, all while driving rapid gear changes without interruptions in power. As far as fuel economy, with a 27.7-gallon tank filled with required premium fuel, I'd estimate the SVR to achieve between 14 miles to a gallon in the city and 19 on the highway, similar to the Supercharged, which averages around 16 miles to a gallon. That's a 14% improvement over its predecessor. Using the newly available auto start-stop system is said to improve fuel economy by up to 7%. The SVR's interior is one of the sportiest I've seen out of this class. In addition to improved build quality, including more soft-touch surfaces and authentic metal detailing compared to the previous generation Range Rover Sport, the controls have been cleaned up, reducing the amount of buttons and switches by 50% for a simpler, ergonomically friendly design that differs significantly from the Range Rover flagship. While build quality of materials is first-rate, I do believe some competitors, such as the BMW X5M, offer nicer interiors as far as styling and modern technology is concerned. The primary focus point begins with a steeply raked center stack and high-mounted center console, highlighted by satin chrome pillars, creating a more intimate and driver-focused environment. The carbon fiber accents add a more dynamic feel to match the SVR's personality. Power locks, windows, mirrors, folding mirrors, and 3-person memory can be found in the driver's door in addition to plenty of storage. To match the SVR's aggressive personality, an equally aggressive set of performance seats were added, which look like they were lifted straight from the Jaguar XK-RS. The racing-inspired design is far more sculpted and bolstered than the regular seats. The headrests are fixed, integrated nicely with the flared upper backrest and racing harness ports. They're on the firmer side of comfort but hold you in much tighter in the corners, wrapped in premium Oxford leather with optional two-tone color schemes and perforations down the middle. Heated seats are standard. They feature 16-way power adjustment, including 4-way power lumbar and adjustable lateral support. I prefer the seats in the Range Rover Supercharged as far as overall comfort, as the firmness takes a bit of time to get used to, but they're still supportive and fatigue-reducing on longer trips. Attention to detail is wonderful, especially with the addition of silvery accent piping and SVR badges embossed on the upper backrest. The seatbelts are adjustable. Refinement touches include isolated engine mounts, laminated glass, and sound-absorbing foam ducts for the HVAC system to help make the interior extremely quiet and further emphasize the powerful exhaust notes. A power tilt telescoping heated steering wheel is standard in addition to a leather-wrapped dash, all finished off with a black headliner, an optional feature, and a standard panoramic glass roof. The SVR is the first Land Rover product to feature a two-stage active exhaust system, consisting of electronically controlled valves and larger diameter underfloor pipes. They're up from 55mm in the Supercharged V8 to 60mm in the SVR, that exit through unique quad exhaust tips. The sound created is hard to describe without hearing it in person. As you've probably heard throughout the video, it conveys a huge sense of brutal power and acceleration, especially on the interior, regardless of engine speed. Even at idle, there's a more pronounced rumble, hinting that the SVR is something a bit more special than your typical Range Rover. Bespoke engine tuning reduces the air charge quicker when you lift off the throttle without cutting the fuel supply, leading to more pronounced crackles on the overrun that produce endless entertainment. With the valves closed, the exhaust is more subdued, relatively speaking of course, but will gradually open around 3,000 RPM as engine speed and load increases to allow greater exhaust flow and introduce more sound. When dynamic mode is selected, the valves are opened completely. You can also manually open and close them by a small button in the center console.
So let's go ahead and see how she sounds. So let's go ahead and shut her up.
The The standard 380 watt audio system features 8 speakers, but for a more premium experience you can opt for a 19 speaker Meridian surround sound system including a subwoofer for a total output of 825 watts. For the best available audio experience, our tester features the 1700 watt 23 speaker Meridian surround sound system, adding speakers up in the headliner for a realistic 3-dimensional experience. For an in-depth look at all the interior features, options, and how they work, check the link in the description box below or see the link in the top right-hand corner of the video to be taken to my Range Rover Sport Supercharged review, which is equipped identical to this one. Alrighty. We'll go ahead and shut her down.
And check out the back seat.
What's going on, guys? So this is pretty cool. Obviously we're taking a look at the Range Rover Sport SVR. The other week we looked at the Range Rover Sport Supercharged, so we're getting a whole lot of Range Rovers in. This is amazing. I was not expecting this vehicle to show up. The other week I put up a BMW X5M, which was also a pretty cool experience. This basically competes with that. 550 horsepower, 567 for the BMW, all that good stuff. But this is a lot more raw. This is a lot sportier, I think. I mean, while the M sounds fantastic for a twin turbocharged motor, just having that rawness of this dual mode exhaust with the supercharged V8 up front, it's just so loud. Like we talked about, it's like you took an XKRS Jaguar and just dumped it in here, just made an SUV version out of that. It's mind-boggling. Especially the back seat. I mean, obviously the dimensions haven't changed between the other one that I filmed, so all the interior room and all that kind of stuff pretty much just stays the same. I'm 5'10" with a comfortable seating position for myself up front, a few inches of leg space or so, probably about the same in head space when you're talking about the headliner. Obviously a whole lot more with the panoramic glass roof, which is another really nice touch. It allows a whole lot of natural light to come into the back seat, and it's also tinted, so you're not going to be like sweltering on a hot day necessarily. But the biggest difference back here are the seats. These seats are amazing. Just like the front, which mimic like racing buckets, back here you also get the same thing. I've never seen this kind of configuration in a car. I mean, I'm sure there is. There has to be. But especially in an SUV, I've never seen anything like this. The style up front is emulated back here, so you have these huge lateral bolsters across the bottom and the top, a flared upper backrest, fixed headrest, and even a little racing harness port. It's almost comical, but in a really good way. Attention to detail, like the front, is fantastic. You have perforations across the middle right here, the double stitch accenting, the two-tone color scheme is really cool how it kind of blends together, and you have the SVR tags embossed on the backrest just like you have in the front. The other nice thing back here, you can sit 3 people back here in pretty, good comfort. There's not a big drivetrain hump right here. The center console does not extend into the back seat very far, and it's a pretty wide back seat. I mean, there's a lot of interior room back here, so I would imagine, especially people my size, maybe a little bit taller, can sit 3 people in a row and not have any hindrance of shoulder room or anything like that. The only downside with the person who sits in the middle right here is because these lateral bolsters stick out probably 1.5 inches from this portion right here, depending on how wide you are, those are probably going to pinch into you. So it's just something to keep in mind. There is a fold down armrest right here with a little storage net and 2 cup holders, wrapped in leather, nice and soft, and a fully adjustable third headrest. Also, like the other one we looked at, you can recline these back seats in addition to folding them. I'll show the folding portion when we get to the trunk, but just grabbing the handle across the side, you can rake it back just a little bit. Not too much, but enough to kind of kick back and relax. I mean, just like the other Range Rover too, I mean, the luxury back here is just top notch. I think the BMW does a little bit of a better job as far as fit and finish or quality of materials. It's just a little bit more artsy and a little bit more creative, I guess, but that's not a complaint at all. I love the Range Rover's interior. Down below here, you have 2 air registers to keep everything nice and ventilated. I wish it had some B-pillar vents right here. That's something I've kind of seen in this class. It adds just a little bit more ventilation back here, but it's a pretty open environment, so I don't imagine it'd be that big of a deal getting a whole lot of
temperature regulation back here. But you have a little bit of storage up top there. The climate controls for the rest of the quad zone climate control system, so you can change the zones, independent temperature adjustment for either side, and heated seats for both of the outer portions. There's a power outlet down there, another little bit of storage, and just like the front and the door panels, the center stack is highlighted in carbon fiber, which is cool. You don't have any storage pockets on the back of these seats, being that they are more sporty, but I know the back is padded. I believe it's wrapped in leather. It definitely feels like it. Up top, you have grip handles, coat hooks, LED illumination, and the rest of the speakers for this high-end Meridian audio system that I talked about earlier, which is awesome. All the back glass from the rear doors back is all tinted. There's defrosters on all 3 of the windows back there in the cargo area, which is nice. And visibility is pretty good. The D-pillar is big, but it's not too big. Even with the slope of the roof line, you still have plenty of glass back here. I haven't found any fault with it at all in normal driving. But yeah, that's about it. Oh, and comfort. The back seats are definitely a little bit more firm, just like the front compared to the regular Range Rover Sport. Obviously there's more grip, they're more firm, they're definitely supportive, they're not uncomfortable at all, they're just not squishy and padded. The X5M has a softer back seat, so it's probably worth comparing or so if you're going to be hauling around a lot of people, taking on family trips, and it might not even be that big of a deal. I haven't taken it on a long trip, so or hauled people in the back yet, so it's hard for me to really comment on that, but just something to be aware of, worth comparing, so just check it out for yourself and see what you think. I also love, I don't know what this stuff is called, but this piping in the middle right here, I mean, you've seen leather piping and color accent piping and all that kind of stuff from videos before, but this is like a silvery cloth bead, and it's shiny, and it's metallic, and it glistens in the sun. It's fascinating, and the video is probably not going to do it justice. If you're ever able to see it in person, really take a close look at it, because it's a very cool, very unique thing I haven't seen before. Alright, so let's go and check out the rest of the vehicle.
The regular Range Rover Sport can seat up to 7 people depending on whether you opt for the 3rd row seating. A power liftgate is standard. Compared to the Range Rover flagship, it has a pretty decent amount of storage for its size. Behind the 2nd row seat, you have 27.7 cubic feet of cargo space. If more is desired, you can fold the seats via the levers on the outer seat backs. With everything opened up, space jumps to 62.2 cubic feet, making it plenty big to haul some medium-sized furniture or plenty of camping gear. There's LED lighting out back, a privacy cover, and a 12-volt power outlet. A spare tire can be found underneath the trunk floor.
The passenger seat features the same power adjustments that you would find in the driver's seat, including the 4-way power lumbar and adjustable lateral support. The leather, of course, extends to the passenger side portion of the dash, and you have a lower glove box that's electronically actuated like I showed you earlier. Lined in felt, and a pretty good amount of space overall.
With less weight, stellar build quality, materials, and technology, it's obvious that the Range Rover has evolved in a big way over the years. The SVR is now my favorite model. Not only do you get that expected off-road capability, but it's extremely fun to drive. Despite its size, it doesn't feel like a giant SUV when out on the road. It's easy to maneuver and as comfortable as a luxury sedan. It's a great, well-rounded vehicle that's ready to maintain its position in a quickly growing and competitive segment.
Well, everyone, I hope you enjoyed the in-depth look at the 2015 Range Rover Sport SVR. Be sure to stay tuned next time. There's a lot more where that came from. Take care, everybody.